You're listening to Travel Nursing and Allied Life, hosted by TravCon. Welcome to the Travel Nursing and Allied Life podcast. I'm super excited. Today with me is Joscel James. He is an ER travel nurse and has even only started traveling just under 2 years ago, I believe. We're really excited to have him with us and sharing with us what he does. Thanks for joining us, Joscel.
Oh, thanks for having me here.
Now, you mentioned you started travel nursing, I think it was January 2021, was it?
August 2020.
August 2020. So really in the height of COVID.
Yeah, definitely. August 2020 was kind of like one of the biggest waves we had.
And when you say we, where were you staff at the time?
I was staff in Southern California in LA County.
So yeah,
Southern California is kind of my home base.
You were totally in the thick of it.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Well, at that time I was a med-surg nurse.
Oh, okay.
I was a med-surg nurse. I kind of did, I started in the ICU, went to the ER staff, and then I did the kind of thing that we all do as nurses. You follow the money. And there was this place in LA that was offering me more money, more benefits, and I took it as med-surg, and I was so unhappy. Probably the most unhappy I've ever been at a staff in my entire life. And COVID is a great opportunity, right, for us nurses. Very tragic, unfortunate event. But for us travel nurses, this was an opportunity, or wanting to get into travel.
It was phenomenal.
To change our lives. And that's kind of what happened with me. I quit my med-surg job and went straight into travel nursing. It was wild.
And I think I remember listening to one of your podcast episodes. It wasn't it your first assignment and you got canceled almost before you got there, or as you got there?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I got approved for Fresno, and it was my first assignment, and I was looking at housing. I was getting ready. I packed all my stuff, and I think a few days before leaving for Fresno, they told me that it was canceled. They overstaffed, and my recruiter was like, this is just kind of the nature of travel. It happens, but I can get you the same offer a few hours further north in Sacramento. And I took it. And, it was like, I think that kind of shows exactly how travel nursing is. You never know what's going to happen next, but there's always a pivot, right? I thought I was going to go to Fresno, but I went to Sacramento instead. It's
totally the case. And that's really the message we bring across is the most important feature I think you need to be is flexible. You just got to be able to roll with it. And I was actually I was leaving North Carolina. I was heading to Arizona on a long weekend. And my big bonus, this is prior to COVID, I had a really big bonus ICU gig in Arizona. Right. And Friday of the long weekend, they cancel me just prior. And we're
before starting.
Even starting. But, we had an RV at the time and we're like, we're just going to tootle across the country. And Tuesday morning, we woke up in New Mexico. And so we call up a recruiter and said, hey, what you got? And she goes, well, I have ER in Las Cruces. And I'm like,
oh, that's in New Mexico, right?
In New Mexico. And so I said, I've never really done ER, so but I'm willing to give it a shot. So I showed up at the interview and I said, look, I don't do kids. I don't do trauma. And I have no ER experience, but I am an ICU nurse. And she's like, great, we'll take you. And so, I just wanted it up front. Like I was really nervous in that position, but it was the perfect situation to sort of try and see if I liked ER.
Right.
To try and see if I could handle, because I think it's easier to go from ICU to ER than it is the other way around.
It's easier to go from ICU to ER. Oh, yes, definitely.
Because most of it's pretty straightforward. And then if somebody gets sick, you don't have a cow and you can handle the vent and everything.
Absolutely.
But talk about having to pivot on a dime, be able to flow with it. Everything you'd kind of planned out the window, switch gears, turn left. And
Right. Well, I mean, the fact that you're a traveler ER, do you identify most as an ER nurse or ICU nurse?
I do like ER.
Right.
Much more. However, what I ended up doing for a few years is in a small town, I would go to the ER.
Oh,
whereas in a big city, the ER scared me. I was not really into gunshots and all that kind of
Oh
big
yeah.
city ER. That kind of is a little not my speed. So I would go hide out in the ICU.
Okay.
And to me, it was the perfect blend to be able to hop back and forth. And then
You
eventually
traveled with both.
I did both. I just,
Okay, cool.
depending on the size of the city or whatever came up, if it was small, I went ER. If it was big, I mean, I was in Seattle and you get to choose for your assignment every morning. And I'm sitting there going, could I have the gunshot wound? Because I've never had one before. And they're like, what? You came out of Arizona? And I said, yeah, I hit out in the
Wow.
ICU. So you get
You
to,
put yourself in that situation. That's
it's
dope.
the, as you say, it's out of the comfort zone, right? And
Absolutely.
you brought that up when we chatted before. And I thought it was really poignant what you said about being out of your comfort zone and kind of learning what you like, what you don't like, what you excel at, what you don't excel at.
Absolutely.
And travel nursing does that for you, or any kind of travel.
One of the biggest pieces of advice you hear that's almost cliche, right, is get out of your comfort zone. We've been hearing that since we were
Oh, yeah.
we were in high school, middle school. Get out of your comfort zone. Go meet new people. College advice. Get out of your comfort zone. But I think nothing quite literally gets you out of your comfort zone than leaving your hometown, going to a new city, going to a new state, and just kind of starting from scratch, not knowing anybody, right? You bring yourself, your skills, your experience, but definitely the most uncomfortable times of my life were going my first assignment out of my very first assignment, and of course my very first assignment out of California, which is I'm in Oregon right now.
Mm-hmm.
Those are probably the top two most uncomfortable moments of my most recent adult life.
It is. It makes you feel when I was going into the Bellevue Hospital in Seattle, and I knew it was
Oh,
a
okay.
big ICU. There were probably, I think, 8 ICUs, 9 ICUs. My knees were knocking. I'm sitting there and I've been a nurse for 15 years and I'm
Right.
sitting here going, can I do this? I am
Yes.
just a little scared. Am I? And then it turns out
Yes.
fine and it's good. And we
Hmm.
had a really good unit. But yeah, you always get that. For
Yep.
me, I got butterflies sometimes,
Yes.
especially at the bigger institutes. Can I handle it?
Yep. It's
So
a feeling that I think no one gets except travelers, because every time we go to a new hospital, we're new again, and we have that feeling of, can I do this? I'm a
yeah.
little nervous. I have what you have 15 years of experience. You've probably seen and done so much, but you put yourself in this new situation and you're like, oh man, this is
Yeah.
like,
People get that
this is
once or
real.
twice a year.
Yep.
Travelers, sorry, once or twice in their lifetime, whereas
Right.
travelers get that 3, 4 times a year.
Yep. You just get it, and that's why I love meeting new travelers. And I mean, talking to you just for a few minutes, like we have that connection of just getting it. And
Yeah.
then you and me doing ER and ICU also, you just get it.
And that's kind of what brings people back to TravCon year after year is, these are my people. Like
Yes.
they immediately know the challenges that you go through. Oh my God, I got to find housing again. Or how many times did you get canceled last year or that kind of
Yep.
thing? You just totally get it.
Yep. A lot of our experiences, I feel like, just because I think it's natural to think, we think we're the only ones going through it. We're the only ones getting canceled. We're the only ones being treated like this in a new hospital. Then you go to TravCon and you're not alone. And it was so
Exactly.
overwhelmingly good to meet what, like you said it, your people.
Yeah.
And I've
Was
been
last
trying
year?
to put words on it. Because I was telling my friend about it, who's not in healthcare, and she's like, it sounds like you met your tribe. And
Oh, that's a cool term.
Yep. And that's exactly what TravCon is for me, is like meeting your tribe, your people.
Totally. A few years ago, somebody on the video that we do said, these are my people. And that resonated with us so much. We kept that for our slogan. And now yours, I love that. This is my tribe. Yep. This is it.
Yep.
Was last year your first year?
So that's the slogan. Last year was my first TravCon. Yes. Last September.
Cool.
And
how did it feel? I've been every year, so for me it's different, and I'm there for setup and everything like that. How does it feel as a first-time person coming into TravCon?
Oh man, I'm glad you asked this. It was probably one of the most overwhelming experiences I've had in a long time, aside from, of course, travel nursing. I did not know how big it was, the exhibits. It was very overwhelming for me. And someone like me who actually has social anxiety, meeting new people, this is a new development for me, I think. I have social anxiety when I meet new people, and it's been heightened as I became a travel nurse. I'm just like, why do I feel like this? Just get hella nervous meeting new people. So it was very overwhelming in the beginning, especially with the exhibits. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what proper etiquette was. There's so many different people.
Yeah.
And then as the how many days was it, like 3 or 4, as the days went by and the events happened, I started meeting more and more people, and I started getting more and more comfortable. So
That's awesome.
overwhelming at first, but walking away from it, and I've told you and several other people this, TravCon changed my life,
Ah,
right?
that's awesome. I
It's just
love that.
meeting my tribe is like, it's so life changing, and I wish I could explain it more, but it's just like a feeling that I've never had in ever, I would say,
Oh, that's really cool to hear because you work on it all year and
Yeah,
you think, oh, okay, I really hope it elevates people and it gives them some excitement and something to look
yeah,
forward to. And you get the sense that they look forward to it because we had a new registration system last year and a new guy that was running it. And I said to him, people are really waiting for this to open. Like, it's not just going to be nothing all night. I said, when I open it at midnight, it's going to go crazy. And he didn't really believe me.
uh-huh.
And so I made it live at, I think, 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
10 people signed up every hour throughout the night. So by morning, there was
Wow.
like almost 100 people that were signed up. And he was blown away. He couldn't believe it he goes, who's up all night? I'm like, oh, half the crowd's up all night. And they were so pumped. They're like, I was first and I got in there, and they were showing their ticket. So people really do want to, they look forward to getting together again.
Absolutely. I have speaking of looking forward to getting together again, I have several events this year. Every month, I'm traveling to, Tennessee, traveling to California. And then, of course, September is TravCon. And I've told several people this. I will trade all my other events for TravCon, like on
Ah,
a heartbeat.
that's
That's
awesome.
not even a joke. Like, I will miss everything I signed up for. I have one in May, June, July, August. I will trade all those events. If I could just choose one for whatever reason, I would go to TravCon. That's how
That
much
is super
it's
sweet.
impacted me.
Yeah. That is super sweet. The interesting what you said about your social anxiety. I feel like for those people who there's probably many just like you
Oh
going, oh
yeah.
my God, all the people, I don't know what to do or where to go. But
Hmm.
because we have such commonality, we have this central theme that you can go up to anybody and go,
Hmm.
where are you traveling? Or, what specialty are you in? Or you're
Right.
all of a commonality that I think that helps break down sort of that very big barrier of, geez, what do I ask? Or what do I talk to somebody about? Or if I
Right.
approach an exhibitor booth, I mean, they're all pretty much, hey, they want to talk to you.
Yep. The exhibitor booths were great. They all talked to you really quickly, and were very warm and welcoming. And I didn't know there were so many travel agencies that existed.
It's pretty
And
wild,
there's
isn't
more
it?
than those. Yeah,
There's
there's more
more.
than
There's almost 100 in the exhibit hall, and those are the main ones. But still, I
right.
would say we get 70 or 80% would come back every year because they just love it.
Uh-huh.
And then there's always a good 20, 30 companies that come that are new. They're either
Right.
starting up or they're kind of coming in on a different area. So it's pretty interesting. You can tell the new ones because they're very calm. Their booth is very quiet, not
Okay.
quiet, but plain.
Right.
And they kind of get blown out of the water by these other companies. They're like, oh no, I've been here before. I know we need a serious attraction. So we're going to do
Yeah.
mini golf. And the guys over there, they're doing a Wheel of Fortune. And over
Yeah.
here,
Wheel of Fortune.
yeah. So there's all these cool, fun events. And so the first year exhibitors look around and they're like, whoa, we got to up our game. Like this is serious because they're all sort of competing for your attention. And it's
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
much fun. Like the energy is
Yeah.
just high.
Uh, I didn't know there was going to be games like that. There's actually my friend who I met on Instagram, who ended up going to TravCon also. I hadn't met her yet in person, but she texted me because I was a little late to the first day. I think I got
Yep.
there around 10. I think it opens at 8.
Yep.
I got there at 10, and I think at 9 she texted me. She's like, "Oh my God, I just won an iPod or an iPad, right?" And she just won an iPad. An hour later, she's like, "I just won Apple AirPods again."
No.
Yeah, twice in a row. And I was like, "What? I'm not even there yet." And you already came up on 2 Apple products.
They really go to town. Like,
Yeah,
it's kind of a reason why we don't provide a lot of freebies is, dude, you're going to just be,
yeah.
so much free stuff. They're super generous. They're
Mm,
smart because that kind of encourages you to go over and share your information with them. And they're the whole reason why we can keep the tickets cheap
mm,
for TravCon. If you've been
yeah,
to other conferences, they're $600-700 and they barely give
yep,
you any food. And
correct.
so we really subsidize because travelers are not staff. They don't get
Mm,
their transportation paid, or they don't get education time. None of that. They're
right.
paying
None.
everything out of their own dime. So we really keep the tickets subsidized, and it's
Mm,
all from the exhibitors. We take a chunk of theirs. So they're basically, and we tell them that, and they're like, "Hey, we're good with that. We're
that's
totally
great.
good with that. You bring the travelers in, we'll be here, and we'll make it fun for them." So it's turned out
Absolutely.
really well that way.
I've been to some nursing conferences in Vegas, and for more money, I've gotten less, right? So
Yeah,
TravCon, for the price of the ticket, you get a lot,
you do, don't you?
right?
Yeah.
Especially in Las Vegas,
Yeah.
right? Running joke, me and my friends who go to Vegas, like if you're a woman, you get treated very well because you'll get free drinks, free meals. And where men, it's just the nature of Vegas, you have to pay more. But I've never felt like so treated at TravCon or in Vegas up until TravCon, because they're paying for your meals, they're paying for your drinks, and they're giving you
Yeah.
freebies. And I'm like, is this what I was missing out on?
We don't care what you are. We don't care if
Yeah,
you're male, female, or somewhere in the
exactly.
middle.
Exactly. And it usually Vegas does. So TravCon was like experiencing Vegas and TravCon together is like phenomenal.
That's so cool. Now you have a channel. You have a YouTube channel, right?
I do have a YouTube channel.
What's the name of it?
It's my name, which is Joscel James.
Cool. And I'll put that, you've got your spelling of it right below here on the screen. It's really funny. How did you get into you seem to be delving into the comedic side of life. What
Yes.
made that change?
So initially I needed a creative outlet, right? And I wanted to do something outside of nursing, or I wanted to do something with my life and my career, that one I was good at, and two that helped people outside of course, bedside nursing. So initially I had started this channel called The Charming Nurse, where I wanted to teach one, personal development and interpersonal communication. That's why it was called Charming Nurse. And it was very small channel. It is still a small channel, but I didn't get a lot of traction. I think I made 5 or 6 videos teaching people about tone of voice, teaching people about how to talk to people at bedside, talking to doctors, stuff like that. And I was still in the experimentation phase, and I was like, let me try making a funny video. Let me try making comedy videos. And I think my second video that I made that was funny, or that was comedy, it was called Essential Nurse. It took off like out of nowhere. I didn't know it was going to take off. It was making fun of, in 2020 in March, how we were essential workers. We got free Starbucks. We got front of the line Costco passes. We were being called heroes. People were applauding for us, things that has never happened to us. I was nurse for 4 years at the time. The way we were being treated at the beginning of the pandemic was like so weird, so different.
It
And it got
really was.
right, and it got to some people's heads. So that was kind of what my first comedy video that took off. It's called The Essential Nurse. That's kind of what I made fun of. And since that took off, I thought to myself, well, this is what people like. Some people think I'm funny. Let me continue making some comedy videos. And that's kind of how I just kept making funny videos. And then I started watching stand-up comedians. I started reading books on comedy. I started writing comedy, and it's still a practice. It's still a work in progress, but that's how I kind of got into it. It's mostly I've strayed away from YouTube. YouTube production takes a long time,
It
maybe 8
does.
hours
It sure does,
per
because you do
video.
a really good job of sort of splicing and keeping it moving. And I've done
Yeah,
movies that takes time.
right. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
time. And as a I was staff when I started, and I had a lot of more time, like just downtime. And
Yeah.
as a traveler, I couldn't quite keep up with that
Yeah.
and I tell my friends this all the time. And my mom, who asks, my mom's like, why aren't you making more videos on YouTube?
You're like, I'm out exploring, man.
Yeah,
I'm a
exactly.
traveler. Yeah.
Exactly. As a travel nurse, I'm stuck between, I want to explore beautiful green of
Yeah.
Oregon.
Yeah.
And of course, furthering my comedy and video editing career. And most of the time recently, I've been just trying to explore.
I found myself the busiest when I was traveling because, and I was lucky, I actually traveled with a spouse, but, and he did all the grocery shopping and the laundry. So I did all my 3 days that I was working. And then on our 4 days, it was like back to back checking everything out. Because if you try really hard, you might get to see half of what you want to see in 3 months.
Exactly.
And so you end up being busy. And I have to say, after a few years, I was kind of exhausted from that because it was
tiring.
Just go, go, go. It's tiring, but it's
go.
So cool. You think back and you're like, wow, we did this and we did that and we saw this. You're busy as a traveler.
Yeah. I like how you said go, go, go. And it's just one word 3 times. A lot of the travelers I've met over the past couple of years, that's how we all are. I was just talking to my friend Ray about this. We're all go, go, go all the time, whether it be with anything, whether it be moving, whether it be a new assignment. Mm-hmm. We all have this like
you're in
personality trait. Yeah, that you're just go, go, go.
Yeah.
We're all like that.
And it's exciting because, you're halfway through your assignment. So you're really only at the 6-week mark and you're already thinking about where you want to go next.
Where are you going next? And you still feel new to the place. You're still adjusting.
Yes. So that's totally why. Now, I found it interesting. I traveled with a spouse that really helped because you kind of had someone to go with and share things with. You travel on your own. How do you find it is with the new place, and what kind of ideas do you use to settle in?
To meet new people,
or to meet new people? How do you explore the area? You seek people out, or are you happy just seeing the sights on your own?
Wow, it's a good question. Well, I've had great success with social media, right? There's several travel nurse pages that there's group chats of travelers, and sometimes in the comment section, you notice, hey, someone's in Portland. Let me message them on social media. Hey, let's get together. And then there's new apps to get with people on that. That's been great for me.
Yeah, I think MedVenture's in.
MedVenture.
Yes. And there's a few others that I think they're coming in and they're connecting travelers.
Exactly. And I'm fortunate enough to be a traveler while that's a thing. I can't even imagine how it was before without these apps where you can meet people. But usually I try to meet people. I try to get local suggestions and see if they want to go with me. It's a little awkward. Hey, who wants to be my friend? Who wants to go hiking with me?
Yeah.
Sometimes people say no, and you don't find anyone you click with, which is kind of normal, not in a sad sense, but that's life.
Yeah.
But also being a travel nurse in a new place by yourself, it really helped me be comfortable being by myself, and it's, how can I say this? It's gotten comfortable being by myself in my own thoughts, in my own world, taking a hike by myself, which I probably wouldn't do before. When I was a staff nurse in SoCal, I would never hike by myself, watching a movie by myself, going out to dinner by myself, exploring by myself. And one of my favorite parts of travel nursing that I like to share with people is this journey of self-discovery, being by yourself. What do you like? Who are you deep inside, right? Which, people are attracted to the travel lifestyle because of the money, because of the travel, different places, but really the personal growth and self-realizations that I've made as a person through traveling has been phenomenal for me.
It's so true. The self-discovery. It's
right.
Like, how you're lost in your own thoughts and your own experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it made me think, like, why was I nervous to go out to eat at a at a restaurant by myself before? Why was I not hiking by myself before? And you start thinking, you just start having these realizations, like no one really cares. You just live your own life.
Yeah.
And, just live your own life, which is what travel nursing is, right? You're not connected or married to a hospital. You're living your life the way you want to.
Yeah. No, that's so true. It's definitely one of the positives about travel.
For sure.
And, I also love the fact that we're bringing together so many different disciplines at TravCon. It used to be just the travel nurse, but do you know how many other disciplines love to do traveling?
Right. I had no clue until I went to TravCon.
Yeah.
I had no clue. And a lot of our, I think I met Dylan, right? He's on the committee. He's PT. He's a PT. Yeah. And I think I was chatting with him and he was saying how cool it was that there was other disciplines there, PT, OT, see some CT techs, radiology techs going around, meet so many people.
And Dylan runs
not just travel nursing.
Dylan runs the allied room now. So his challenge is to find a session for every discipline if he can, if he can find someone to speak on it. But, that allied room is dedicated for anyone non-nursing, because sometimes they feel a little overwhelmed, like, hey, TravCon's not for me. And you're like, as soon as they hear the word travel nurse, when somebody says that, their mind shuts off and goes, it's not for me. Well, most of the sessions are, because it really isn't clinical stuff. It's all about travel and negotiating and housing and all that sort of stuff. But we really try and be inclusive of all the other disciplines because everyone's doing it. And then you meet other disciplines when you're traveling as well.
Yep.
So we're also getting more NPs. There's MDs, PAs coming to the conference too. So,
oh, really? Yeah. So I've heard travel docs, right? They think, I don't know if it's the same as locum, but I know some physicians are traveling too. So that'd be interesting hearing their perspective.
Especially ER. I know when I was in Las Cruces, a lot of docs want to live in Tahoe. Because Lake Tahoe is where it's at, but they can't all work in Lake Tahoe or get positions there because there's only one tiny little hospital. So the two that I worked with, they both lived in Lake Tahoe, and then they would fly down to Las Cruces, who had like a shortage of doctors, and they would do 10 days or 6 days or whatever and go home.
Right.
And they might do that once a month or something. And with ER, you can do it because you don't have to do follow-ups or continue a patient population. So for ER, it really works.
It works.
And they were literally coming in. They were basically travel docs.
Yeah. I've met a few. I would love to pick their brains about how it's like to be a travel doc.
Yeah. I don't know how many disciplines can do it though, because so many of them carry a patient kind of a load, right? I mean,
following.
Yeah. ICU could do it, maybe even a hospitalist, but then there's the whole charting system that putting in orders. I know our system's not easy. And when I see a new doc come along, man, it takes them weeks to get up to speed.
Yeah. And they ask you some questions and I'm like, oh, I don't know. That's your world.
Totally. Are you going to start more videos up, or are you still in the dream world of traveling from one to the next to the next?
Start more. So YouTube, this is something I think about daily. YouTube, I think I will try to, but most of my content right now has been focused on TikTok and Instagram. Cool. That's where a lot of, I feel like my community is, the people I've gotten along with, the people who really resonate with my content. I talk a lot about traveling, a lot of the comedic side of nursing, and really trying to see how this short form content, which is what it seems like a lot of the attention is, 30-second videos, 60-second videos, and how I can incorporate myself as someone who sees the funny in the world and also show an authentic side of myself that people really resonate with. It seems like the personal development stuff. So it's mostly on Instagram videos. I do a lot of stories, and then TikTok.
Very cool. And that would mean no editing, no video editing to do.
Right. And it's like, correct.
Yeah.
60 seconds. It's very easy to just kind of just talk. I still write a lot of what I say.
Yeah.
Before, even if it's a 60-second, I need a rough outline to make sure I'm getting my proper messaging across. Have a few takes sometimes to make sure I get the tone and timing correctly, but nowhere near as labor intensive as a YouTube video is.
Cool. Well, we look forward to uh, meeting you at TravCon and others who might want to meet the celebrity of Joscel
Oh,
James.
I look
And
forward to meeting everybody. I look forward to
exactly,
meeting you.
it's going to be a very different. You're going to be a veteran now, coming back in, and maybe you'll be the one guiding the new people through it.
Oh, I would love to. I think I would love just going up to random people and talking to them, which I was not able to do last year because I was so shy.
Yeah.
But I think this coming year, I would love to just come up to anybody and just start a conversation because I know that's the proper space for it.
It totally is. It totally is. So if you want to follow Joscel, just check in the notes below. We'll put his Instagram and his TikTok and his YouTube in there because you got to watch some of the videos, especially the one on travel nursing. Very poignant, very on point. Joscel, thank you so much. It was a pleasure chatting with you, and
Thanks,
look
Michelle.
forward to meeting you at TravCon.
I appreciate you. Appreciate travel.
Thanks for listening to Travel Nursing and Allied Life. You can find the full show notes below or at travcon.org. Please help us out by rating our podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts.